Hi, Jeff Bridgman here of Jeff R. Bridgman American Antiques in York County, Pennsylvania. I've come here tonight to do almost like a little skit for you, if you will, called 5 Fun Flag Facts. When a friend of mine gave me this idea to do this little video, it's just keep it short because my videos are often just kind of out of control long. Once I get going on flags, it's kind of hard to stop. But the first thing I thought of was fun with flags, of course, from Big Bang Theory. So, you all watch Big Bang Theory, right? And in case you don't remember, Sheldon's favorite game in Big Bang Theory is what? Fun with flags. So, interestingly enough, we have an exhibition coming up in September, from September of this year, 2024, till January of 2025, running through the election, on political campaign flags and related textiles in Peoria, Illinois, at the Riverfront Museum. Now, I never had heard of the Riverfront Museum, but oh my gosh, what a great place. I surely should have heard of it because it is really absolutely beautiful, large, one of the best planetariums in the world, and they have an exhibition there on the Muppets that I believe is going to overlap with ours, or at least come close to doing that. Now, what in the world does that have to do with flags? Well, it just so happens that a guy who worked with Jim Henson early on and was a primary writer for things like the Muppet movie, the original one, that great one way back when, and he went on later to write for Big Bang Theory, and who do you think created Fun with Flags? Well, same guy. So, little fun flag fact there for you that Sheldon would appreciate a lot, I think. But without further ado, let's get right into this and 5 fun flag facts. Here we go. Okay, fun flag fact number 1. Now, most of us who are interested in early flags know that there was no official star pattern for the Stars and Stripes until 1912. No official proportions. No official shades of red and blue. No number of points that the stars had to have. No official placement of the blue canton against the striped field. And you could advertise on the flag. That didn't really turn around until the Flag Code of 1923, which was just a list of suggestions for flag etiquette, really. There were some states that passed laws against that, and starting in the 1890s, but no national legislation. And so what else could you do to the flag, though, in the 19th century? What did people do that we're less familiar with, even as flag aficionados? One thing is that you could add stars, or people did, before the state had even entered the Union. It was, manifest destiny, right? And westward expansion, pro-westward expansion, pro-statehood for certain states. So here are 2 really great examples because, I know quite often when this happens, when I see it in certain flags, but, you can't really know with 100% certainty without a date, right? So, or without some other way to date the flag. And these are 2 really exceptional examples and very rare things too. Very rare to see a regiment listed in a Civil War reunion flag for a GAR encampment. And these are 2 examples. This one made for the 5th New York Heavy Artillery in 1902 for an encampment in Washington, D.C. What's wrong here? 46 stars. So 46 stars, and we were supposed to have 45 in 1902. Utah entered in 1896 and wasn't followed until Oklahoma was brought in by Teddy Roosevelt in 1907, and the star wasn't officially added until the 4th of July. That was the official change for the flag. For however many states came in during the previous flag year, on the 4th of July, a star would be added. And that one, the 46th star, didn't get officially added until 1908. So here we have between 5 and 6 years too soon to have a 46th star. Below is even a better example, even more shocking, because here we have 1905. This is a reunion of a unit that formed in 1862, the 115th Regiment New York Volunteers, and Canajoharie, New York. And this, 1905, but 48 stars. So this has 3 too many for the time. We didn't get our 47th and 48th state, Arizona and New Mexico, until 1912. And of course, Oklahoma is not in yet. So 2 really terrific examples. This is another rare little guy, and this was made for the GAR market, has battle honors, it's one of a kind, not dated, but there's another flag just like it. In fact, there's a couple of varieties, one made for Teddy Roosevelt, but one of these was made for a GAR reunion in Michigan in 1896. 48 stars. 48 stars. That's 16 years before the 48th state was added. Amazing. So there's flag fun fact number 1. Let's go to number 2. So here we are with fun flag fact number 2 and number 3 on the same flag. So here's a 13-star flag made at the time of the Civil War. Now, we've made 13-star flags throughout our history in America, from the beginning to the present. But something else we did during the war was in the North to remove the southern states. In fact, they started doing that before the war had even broken out, just literally removing the slave states from the flag. Amazing. And in the South, when the war broke out, they were removing northern states from the flag. I mean, the Stars and Stripes had been their flag too, right? Since the beginning of America. So, but something else that they did that's kind of less known and less focused on is removal of stripes. And that's what we see here. So here there are 9 stripes. Why? Because they're removing the 4 states from the original 13 that seceded from the Union. So that would be Virginia, South and North Carolina, and Georgia, but not Maryland and Delaware, both part of the original 13, but they did not secede. So interesting hidden symbolism here in this beautiful, beautiful sort of squarish format, like a battle flag version of the Stars and Stripes with only 9 stripes. And what else is unusual about this? Placement of the canton on a red stripe. Now, when you have an odd number of stripes, that's more likely to happen. But so the theory is that some flag aficionados at least at some point thought that the canton might be placed like this instead of like this, for example, how you see it most of the time, on a white stripe, or placing it on a red stripe. And the theory is that that was done while we were at war. So the terminology is that the canton rests on the war stripe or the blood stripe. Great, I mean, great verbiage for somebody who wants to collect flags. Oh my God, I want a flag where the canton rests on the war stripe. I mean, it really probably wasn't ever true. There was no official placement of the canton against the field until 1912, so there was no right or wrong. Still, on almost all flags you see, this doesn't occur. And so it really, I mean, even though it's probably not true per se that such flags were done this way to reflect the fact that we were at war, it still intrigues me as a collector of things, and pretty much everybody in the flag world loves it. So war stripe or a blood stripe, more often done, I mean, I used to say by accident, but it's not really by accident because there was no prescribed method. So there's flag facts number 2 and 3. Now let's take a look at another. So here we are for fun flag fact number 4. What did the first American flag look like? Did it look like this? Nope. Now, no one knows what the first 13-star flag looked like, but it didn't come about until the Flag Act of 1777. That's June 14th, Flag Day, right? So the war started in 1775. So for the first 2 years of the war, what did we fly? Well, it would probably surprise you to learn that early on in the war, we didn't necessarily want to completely break off from Britain. We just wanted them to treat us better, okay? So that's why you don't see it removed immediately. And to trace back how we came about getting to where we did, you have to go back to 1765 and the formation of the Sons of Liberty. This occurred in Massachusetts, in Boston. So you have, John Hancock, Samuel Adams, and Paul Revere. These guys organized, and in 1767, it's generally agreed upon that they accepted a flag for the Sons of Liberty that consisted of 9 red and white vertical stripes. This was to signify those states that supported the Stamp Act, right? So taxation without representation, you remember. And by 1775, by the time that the war broke out, you'd already had in 1773 or 4, the Boston Tea Party. Should look these things up before I do one of these videos, but it's one of those two years. And what really matters is by 1775, December 16th, by the way, is the day of the month. And at any rate, by 1775, there are ships flying 13 stripe flags in red and white, so representing all the colonies, and those are generally agreed to be associated with Sons of Liberty and sending the same message as they did in the Boston Tea Party. So in that year, another flag can be seen, and that's this one. This is the Grand Union, or Continental Colors, sometimes just called the Continental flag or the Union flag. And like other outposts of the British Empire, this is what represented America, except for it was different in America because we already had these red and white stripes. And believe it or not, they got into our first flag. So when the Stars and Stripes was created later, most of it already existed, right? Just what we missed was the blue canton, not with the crosses of St. Andrew and St. George, and incorrectly here in this 1876 copy, the cross of St. Patrick, which is the saltire in red. That actually didn't appear until later, but besides that point, like other outposts of the British Empire, we had the British Union flag in the canton and something else to symbolize America. For most colonies of Britain, there was an all blue field or an all red field or an all white field, and some kind of symbol on that field that represented that particular state. Now, this flag is what was generally agreed to have been carried most of the time and displayed on forts until 1777, when the Stars and Stripes was adopted. There was a push to remove British imagery from the flag. But it continued to be flown after that point and didn't disappear for a while. So it overlapped with the Stars and Stripes. So there's the first flag of America, the Grand Union. So here we are with fun flag fact number 5, rattlesnake flags. So if any of you have watched the documentary series on the History Channel of John Adams, you will have seen the flag at the beginning of every episode. It's broken up in several episodes. That has a flag waving across the front with a rattlesnake on it in conjoined pieces, black and white, with states abbreviations and another for NE, New England, as the head. This was a cartoon created by Benjamin Franklin, very famous cartoon from the 1750s that shows America as a rattlesnake in pieces. It was, I hate to burst everyone's bubble, never a flag. So the purpose of this little expo here is to show you something great that I got and to tell you that if you want to own that particular flag, sorry, it never existed. The series on John Adams, by the way, was just absolutely fantastic. I don't know anybody who didn't love it. And it's just a shame that they couldn't pick something that actually existed, because there were things that did exist and that they could have chosen. There are 3 known flags from the 18th century. I think one of them wasn't really known at the time, but the other 2 are very, very well documented. One's in Pennsylvania at the State Museum. Another's in Rhode Island at the Rhode Island Historical Society. They could have picked those designs. They could have picked the Gadsden flag with "Don't Tread on Me." I guess they just wanted to do something different. Anyways, if you want to own something in one of those patterns, if you want to own a rattlesnake flag, and I can't tell you how many people have contacted me wanting such a thing, there just aren't any options. There are 2 parade flags that exist from the 19th century. I've owned both, that are yellow and the Gadsden flag format, both Civil War period. There's a banner in a museum, and there's this. This is a tremendous thing and sort of a conglomeration of some elements that we're all familiar with from flags of the Revolution. This is hand-painted on silk, a pine tree, famous New England symbol on early flags, right? With a rattlesnake beneath, "Don't tread on me." And instead of an appeal to heaven, like you typically see on a Rev War flag that is very familiar to a lot of people, this instead says an appeal to God. This is circa 1890s to the 1920s, and even in this era there is almost nothing. I've seen a couple of things over the years, but almost nothing of this sort that exists. And I've never owned anything of this scale this early, or actually had the opportunity to own such a thing. So this is coming soon to the website. This is just a little sneak preview and a little bit about rattlesnake flags to dispel some of the myths that these things were produced and are around and are to be had, and existed like they do on the John Adams series. So sorry to burst everybody's bubble on that, but this is the end of 5 fun flag facts. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again soon.